Is the age of big tech over? Is Apple, Facebook, Google, and Amazon a thing of the past? Well, let's take a look at the charts and see what we can figure out. Here we see that Apple's down 23%. Amazon is down 41, almost 42%. And Facebook, well, we know they've been trashed. They're down 51%. Google, even Google, down 29, almost 30% thus far this year. Is this the end? Is this where they're coming to their demise? Let's look at history. This is a spreadsheet I've made on the history of Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook. And you can see here, Apple was moving along pretty good. Had an 18% drop, 24. And then in 1993, it lost 51% of its value in 1 year. But wait, in 2000 for the dot-com bubble, they lost 71%. And then wait, for the subprime crisis, they lost 57. So far, they're down 23. What about Amazon? Well, for the dot-com bubble, they lost 80% and then followed it up the next year with a loss of 30%. In the subprime, lost 45. In 14, lost 32. Currently, they're down around 42%. Google, this stalwart of Google, in 08, 56%. 14, 53%. Today, they're down 23. Doesn't look so bad. And then we have Facebook. Facebook was pretty steady. The worst they've done was in 18, in the subprime crisis. They were down 26. Now they're down 51. That's some concern. So, is this the end of the big tech? Let's look into it a little deeper.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
I want to read to you the description for this video. The companies that control and manage the data will rule the world. The world will change more in the next 10 years, more than it changed in the past 100 years. Palantir, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and NVIDIA will lead the way. That happens to be exactly the same description that I wrote on yesterday's video that had a thumbnail said, "I'm all in with Palantir." And I chose to do this video to substantiate my opinion on what is going to happen to Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple. Because the world is going to change, and why I believe they will continue to be a major player in the world as we move forward. And I emphasize this because I think it's so important that you understand what is about to change, how these companies have grown as they switched us from our computer and our hard drive to the cloud. It was totally given to us for free. You don't need to worry about your hard drive storing everything now. We'll take care of it for you in the cloud. And what was that cloud? Well, it's a series of Butler buildings that are 5 times as big as a football field with servers where they store all our data. It was a bait and switch, I guess, that here, we'll give you something free. And as my grandmother used to tell me, Carrie, there's nothing free in life. There is always a price. Well, that price has been that they now own our data. And I believe someday we'll get paid for it, but it's not on the immediate horizon. So let's look at each of these companies and what they do and see if we can figure out where they're going to fit in this digital revolution 3.0. First of all, we know that Amazon is e-commerce, it's big data, and it makes 80% of its profits from Amazon Web Services. What is Amazon Web Services? That is its cloud structure that holds all your purchasing data or anything else that you might look at when you're on Amazon's website. They braggingly say they know what you're going to purchase before you purchase it. So where does that fit into the future? Well, we'll get to that. How about Google? Again, Google is an advertising company. That's what they are. They are also very into a company by the name of DeepMinds. DeepMinds is an artificial intelligence company. They are into healthcare. They own my Fitbit. They know my heartbeat every moment of the day, whether I'm awake or asleep. They know whether I fall down and don't get up. They know exactly what's happening, and they are accumulating that data in an effort to build their position in the healthcare world. They also have, as a result of all this, an enormous amount of big data. They are also getting into the autonomous automobile field. So I look at Google and say they are every day looking out in the future, 10 years, to figure out where they're going to play. So I'm confident of them. Apple, they control the cell phone business and thus gather data. And they are also, if you'll remember the interview with Jim Cramer and Tim Cook in January of 2019, when Jim asked Tim Cook, what will we remember you most for in 2035? And Tim Cook said healthcare. Because they are making every effort through wearables to monitor your health care. So they will be in your future. Facebook's a little different animal. They are, of course, an advertising vehicle. They, I think, will be the major player in the metaverse and along with that, in virtual reality. So all of these companies, I believe, are positioning themselves to be a part of your future. And what they recognize is big data is changing. Big data, through the use of artificial intelligence, and then followed by machine learning, and then followed by quantum computing. And these are the people who own the quantum computers other than IBM. They are going to once again step into Digital Revolution 3.0 to provide you not with what you want, but what you need. And when I'm saying about what do I mean by what you need as opposed to want, you want a new car, you want an electric vehicle, you want an ink cartridge for your printer, you want new clothes. What big data is going to focus, though, on, which I've told you before, is health care, which I prefer to call health cure. Our national security, our individual security. We all know we need to re-secure our elementary schools. We need to recognize when someone has gone off the rails and bring them back. This will be done through big data. We know we have a supply chain problem. This will be done through big data. It will get into transportation, education, every part of your life is going to be controlled by big data. I'm dealing with a gentleman who is building theme hotels around the world. And he asked me, he said, is YouTube a way for us to move? I said, not only YouTube, but Discord. You need to create a community of like-minded people and then feed them information about your facilities. What is this? This is targeted advertising. Who are the biggest advertisers in or providers of advertising in the world? Google and Facebook. They will become more targeted at you and I. As I've often said, there is no reason for Ford and Chevrolet to continue to advertise pickup trucks to me. Kerry is not going to own a pickup truck. He is more apt to buy a Lamborghini than a pickup truck, and he won't be buying a Lamborghini either. So targeted advertising is going to become a part of the future, that you will be even targeted more directly than you are now in the form of advertising. You will find communities that are hosted by the Googles, the Apples, the Facebooks, the Amazons, hosted communities, much as our Discord is, where you will interchange over the internet through the metaverse with people of like mind with you. This is where our world is going. This is the change that we're talking about. Now, as I said in the description, this change, more change than happened in the last 100 years, will happen in the next 10 years. If you come back, if you were Rip Van Winkle and went to sleep for 10 years, you would not recognize this world in 2032. I promise you that. So, what do you need to do to ensure that you participate and you have the growth in this area? I have shared with you the stocks that I think you should own. I have the big six. Here they are. Again, they are Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Google, and Palantir. And if you want to add, Facebook should be in there as well. But these are the companies that have the money and, more importantly, have the talent. And I want to tell you then a personal story. Will lived next door to us. Will was a young man, high school student, who on Sunday mornings would get his trumpet out and play on the deck across from us. Sometimes he would get up early enough to wake us up on Sunday morning. Will was also the guy who put up a big tarp in his backyard and would go out there with a baseball bat and beat on it. And I said, this kid is crazy. And then I learned he was the valedictorian of our high school. Will is coming home this next week. Will is now married, and Will is going to be moving to London to work for Deep Minds. Who is Deep Minds? Deep Minds developed a program that allows to play chess against anybody or any machine. It has never been beat. Deep Minds is the personification of artificial intelligence. And I'm going to make every effort to sit down with Will and get into his mind, because this is a young man who is a part of Digital Revolution 3.0. He is an extremely talented, apparently, individual. Google has recognized it, and Google is going to take him to London to be a part of Deep Minds. What a wonderful opportunity. This is the world that you and I are going to live in within the next 2 to 5 years. It is amazing. So, keep your money invested. And if you don't have money invested right now in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, NVIDIA, and Palantir, now's the time to start dollar cost averaging. And if you're young, put it in a Roth IRA so all that growth is tax-free when you get my age. All right, that's our financial education. This is not financial advice. I'll talk to you more tomorrow.